This is the Chat City interviews from 103.2 Preston FM with your host, Hughie Parr.
And first guest live in the studio this morning, it's nice to welcome, is Rizwan Iqbal. So, Rizwan, a very good morning to you.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Nice to see you. Welcome to Chat City.
Yeah, it's lovely to be here.
On a nice sunny day, so a nice walk through the streets of Preston.
I've brought the sunshine with me from East Lancashire.
Yes, I can see the radiant smile across the mixer desk here. So, from East Lancashire, is that right? Have we let you through passport control into Preston then?
You have, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, you have.
All right, well, welcome. So, you're here to tell us about Cubism, or paint outside the box, which I think is something that's taking place on, is it Friday 21st of March?
Correct, yeah. Cubism is a lovely, heartwarming and creative project devised in partnership between Preston Museums Group and Lancashire Probation Trust. And the concept is very much about converting street art into a meaningful message and getting adults who have spent time in prison, currently on probation, for various reasons, and getting them to engage with the museum as a new community of people, getting them to unlock and understand exhibitions, a particular exhibition which is a permanent piece within the Museum of Lancashire, and that theme was around law and order. So when we first discovered and researched what were the sort of tangible benefits and meaningful benefits for engagement within Preston's communities, law and order was quite a prevalent piece of work connected to Preston Prison and Museum of Lancashire, which actually sits right next door. So in the historical context of the building, it's quite an important location. And it's quite a memorable location for people who are either inside prison and have come out and trying to reintegrate with society, which in itself is quite challenging. For those individuals to have an opportunity to make their mark, take ownership of a piece of creative work, which is done to a very good standard. And this piece of work, which is a final sort of large cube design, is visible from in front of the Museum of Lancashire. So traffic, people passing by on Stanley Street can see this very, very colourful piece, which has been designed and orchestrated by these adults, these men who were part of this project. We had approximately 6 men as part of this project. Alongside that, they have created personalised, smaller versions of the cube, which reflect their experience, their understanding, an artwork that they felt that they wanted to actually portray on the actual cubes themselves. Right.
And has this been led? I've been looking. Mohammed Ali is a world-renowned mural artist from Birmingham. Is he the person who's kind of been leading this with the guys?
Yeah, I mean, Mohammed Ali is a very well recognised graffiti artist. Him and his supporting artist Matt Reeves work on national and international projects. And they're pretty much led in terms of giving these men, these adults, the necessary tools, the necessary advice, the necessary sort of platform to be able to demonstrate their creative flair. And I'm a personal believer of creativity, and Mohammed Ali and Matt Reeves sort of shared that in an exceptional way, where each adult was able to demonstrate their own personal version of the art, which involves stenciling, sketch work, graffiti can styles. You know, there's a particular way people think graffiti is in its sort of crude form, tagging, but there is a deeper sort of quite an artistic form which can take place, and I think that is really important to be celebrated and placed where audiences can appreciate it, and it isn't a nuisance to councils or local authorities and communities. So Mohammed and Matt have pretty much led in terms of inspiring them, and have advised them in the best way possible to put ideas together. And when those ideas have come together, it formulates quite a nice piece of art.
All right. I was going to ask about that because I was looking, I've been looking this morning at some of Mohammed's work, and it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's really quite interesting also, the fact that that this has now become kind of respectable art from the days when graffiti, I mean, if you still go to lots of parts of Europe, graffiti is still very much graffiti and is criticised and is not very nice. But these days, graffiti has become quite respectable art, and it's nice to see that people are getting involved in it through this and through Cubism. The guys who are involved then through probation, were they people themselves who had previously been involved in art, or is this a new concept and it's the first time we've tried this?
To a few of them, it was a totally new concept. So initially there was apprehension about what they could actually, how they perceived themselves being involved. And I think once the first sort of sketch session, brainstorming, however you want to label it, took place, it was more about sharing ideas, sharing experiences, and I think that really made the group gel.
Yeah.
Because each one of them had reflected on their experience of prison and how that wasn't a positive experience. However, reflecting on that and then transferring that onto paper through illustration work, I think allowed them to explore something that they hadn't explored before. On the other hand, there were two individuals who were exceptionally talented, I think, and gifted. One who had won the Kessler Award 4 times on a row, and that's an arts award. Some of his work has actually been sold through the prisons themselves, and it's a way of him earning money, but also establishing himself as a painter, as an artist. And their ideas were, I mean, they were exceptional ideas. I mean, they could put pencil to paper very, very quickly. And when their sort of companions and other group members saw that, I think it sort of inspired them to. Everybody's on a level playing field. Nobody, they'd shared the same experience. So I think that really helped.
Right.
It wasn't a case of one, ex-offender or ex-inmate was now a major international artist.
So this piece of work is now complete.
Correct.
And so we need to get all our listeners to have a look at it, and they can see it when?
On Friday the 21st of March, we launch at 2 p.m. We have a number of dignitaries from the local community of Preston and Lancashire opening that particular launch. So it's officially open at 2 p.m. The community is invited to observe and be a part of that. We have a special sort of street performance. As part of that, we have particular small talks, small piece of sharing from each of the adults who are part of the project. Mohammed is sort of tentatively penciled in at the moment in terms of his availability, being available on Friday itself. There is also a small screening of a 4-minute film which captures the project in its duration of 3 days. So again, the community members of the public it's free. They're welcome to come and observe this. Hopefully, the sunshine will be out on Friday,
yes,
which will help in the being outside of the museum. And there's tea and coffee. There's cakes and biscuits.
Oh, well, you see.
So
why not?
That's my little plug.
Yeah, why not? Have they given a name to the work, or is there a name to its specific name?
Well, the project is titled Cubism, made
yeah.
in Preston, and the sort of subtext is paint outside the box. So it goes along the theme of thinking outside the box. And painting outside the box.
And from the probation service, from their perspective, has this probably been a successful project? Is it something they'd like to see recreated?
Absolutely, and I think what's fundamentally important, these kind of programs, these kind of projects, involve those people who wouldn't necessarily be given the opportunity. So in terms of developing this kind of program, I'm hoping it inspires other museums. The Museum of Lancashire is part of Preston Museums Group, and as a group they fundamentally are very, very keen to develop programmes of engagement that work with communities. So equally, if members of the public or community groups are interested in working with any of the museums and want to find out more about Preston Museums Group, they need to get in touch with us, come down on Friday, share your ideas, and we'd love to develop and support community projects that engage with the public, that are meaningful, have a social message, and people sort of don't look at it and think it's art that isn't understood or misrepresented. But yeah, going back to your question, each one of the adults enjoyed that project, and that's a reflection of the work that's been carried out. It's been captured on sort of film, and it's so important that those stories are shared. It's a sort of a freedom of expression for the adults from Lancashire Probation Service, who have another way of re-engaging with society, claiming something to be their own, and be able to share something that they're actually proud of, rather than something that they would rather keep and hide away. So yeah, it's a great opportunity, and it's a great model to share and keep going, and I hope it does keep going.
Okay, and so there you are. You need to go down there, Museum of Lancashire, Friday 21st of March, and we were mentioning there will be, the usual kinds of drinks and biscuits and that, and I think that's what we're going to do for you, isn't that right, Riz? When I believe you're going next door, we're going to entertain you, and then you're coming back in about 40 minutes or so, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
We just love live radio. So there, yeah, and I was just saying that it's Mohammed Ali, a world-renowned mural artist from Birmingham, and I was looking at some of his work today, and there's some brilliant stuff up there. And the art of Mohammed Ali is described as challenging the oft-heard term clash of civilizations with this fusion of street art, Islamic script, along with conscious messages that speak to people of different faith and different traditions. He describes his work as taking the best of both worlds and bringing back to the forefront principles that are fading away from our modern societies. So if you want to have a look at his work, it's up online, and you can see it. It's aerosol Arabic urban spiritual art, and quite difficult to say all that. And it's Chat City 103.2, your Preston FM.
If you have any news or events you'd like to share with Hughie and our Chat City team, why not give us an email, chatcity@preston.fm.